Hello everybody, this is Gregory with how I lost over 100 pounds and have kept it off for 30 plus years. But there should be no hesitance in your weight loss and maintenance. Today we're going to talk about how you should dress while you're overweight and on the journey to weight loss. Now before we begin, if you need help with weight loss, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my website, which has 600 articles and recipes. Some of them might be useful to you. Also take a look at my 2 books. And lastly, if you appreciate my content, there is a link in PayPal. Now, dress is important. I had talked about in the Confessions of an Obese Child episode how I used to go to the Big and Tall store when I was a very obese teenager. My mom used to drag me there. I grew up in Houston. And how the lack of fashion choices, and it's amazing how many X numbers and X's you can find in these Big and Tall. I mean, there's 5X, 6X, and at my peak, I was wearing like a size 58 pants, which is amazing. But what's the strategy? Because some people who are overweight believe it's best to wear baggy clothes, and then some people believe that it's better to wear tighter clothes. So the baggy clothes group faction would say, well, I don't want people to see my rolls, I don't want people to see my man boobs, and so forth. And I have an episode about wearing a bra when I was a teenager. And then the other group is like, well, slim, like form-fitting is more in fashion, and it's going to grow more attention to you if you are wearing baggy clothes. So let's just do some obvious ones. What are some tips? And this is going to be more toward men because women's fashion is just beyond. But some of these things are going to be kind of universal. So wear dark clothes. Wear dark clothes. We know black is slimming, white is not slimming. I mean, we all know this. So wear black clothes. Whether that mean black pants or charcoal pants, dark blue shirts, dark green shirts, black shirts. Just dark. Pretend you're a European. That's how the Europeans dress, either way. So pretend you're European and just dress like the Euros dress. Another thing you want to avoid, of course, is horizontal lines. I would say as a whole, horizontal lines in dress shirts or in polo shirts are not really in fashion. But again, I know some people who've just been overweight their whole life and you just buy what you can, and there's not a lot of great fashion, unfortunately, when you're overweight. So if you have any shirts that are striped, I'd recommend that you avoid that as well. And in general, I'd recommend anything that's got patterns, because patterns, if you are skinny and you want to look like you have a bigger chest, patterns are actually better. But if you're overweight, you want to avoid any kind of patterns. What you want to do is like a dress shirt like this or a dark polo shirt, but one shade in dark, and avoid the horizontals. When it comes to pants, I would avoid pleats because pleats can make you look puffy. And I would just go with just a non-pleat pants. Now, in terms of the argument of should I wear baggier than not baggier, I would tell you, like when I was a kid in the late 80s, early 90s, my mom would always be like, Gregory, you need to wear baggy clothes. And like think of the period of like MC Hammer, think of the early 90s, Vanilla Ice. I know I'm only thinking of rappers here, but back then the fashion, think of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, another rapper. It was baggy. That was more the fashion. But if you talk to people who are into the sartorial, the fancy dress and dressing well, they would tell you that regardless of what your weight is, you do want to wear clothes that are form-fitting. Baggy clothes as a whole do make you look baggier. So, I've seen this, and this is kind of more tangential, but I'll like go into the dry sauna, and I'll see guys in there overweight that are wearing 4 layers of clothes, and I know they're doing it so they can sweat more. But if it is warm outside, there's no reason to wear a jacket. And I get it. You want to cover your obesity. I totally get that. But in the long run, you can't hide morbid obesity. People are going to notice it either way. So you do want to dress with a modicum of fashion sense. A modicum of fashion sense. And so today, and really the last few decades, probably going back further than that, it's form-fitting shirts. So, and again, this can't apply to all of you guys because some of you are 20 pounds overweight, 60 pounds overweight, 100 pounds overweight. But you want to wear a shirt where the shoulder seam is actually on the shoulder. You want to wear a shirt where there's some space in the armpit, but not baggy. You want to wear a shirt that if you're wearing a button down that you can tuck in, because that's the way shirts are meant to be worn. If you're ever going to wear a tie, you just want a couple inches here to make sure it's fit. But as a whole, we don't really go to tailors anymore. But as a whole, you want to wear shirts that fit pretty close to your body. And I get it. Look, man, when I was overweight, I was sweating up. In general, I keep my house at 64 degrees in the summer. And in the winter, I never turn on the heater because I burn hot, meaning I sweat very fast. This is one of the reasons I wear undershirts. So I get it. When you're overweight, you're sweating a lot and you don't want to have armpits and so forth. But there's a fine line because just because you're overweight doesn't mean you can't dress with a certain amount of fashion. And the fashion is not having baggy sleeves and all that. It's not. The fashion is to wear form-fitting clothes. So in closing, I would tell you, dark colors, no patterns, relatively form-fitting, and don't be layering because you can't hide the obesity. Guys, post in the comments. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.